Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you. As you have said before in the previous presentation, the ecosystem of crypto is absolutely huge. There are a lot of different solutions. There are DeFi solutions. There are different stable coins, cryptocurrencies, etc. But all of these cannot be happen without security. Okay? I mean, it's the common way for not only crypto, in general, in all our payment transactions. Sorry for the, there is a lot of noise, so maybe you cannot hear me very well. Sorry, I apologize for that. So, when we talk about crypto and security, probably in your mind, you think about ransomware attacks, you think about darknet, terrorism, drugs, arms, all of this stuff. And it's true. I mean, it's a reality. It's something that is happening every time. And I have put some screenshots that is very curious. So, for example, the one that appeared a terrorist group with a Bitcoin address to receive funds. So this is happening. This is a reality. Of course, every day we heard about people that are losing the cryptos in different exchanges. We are hearing money laundering problems in the exchange. Very recently, by the way, 2 days ago, Binance right now is under investigation for some problems with money laundering. It's a reality. And more than 14 billion of the dollars has been lost in different attacks in different exchanges. But it's true that this is less than 1% of the total volume of the crypto space. So, I mean, we are normally reading this in the newspaper, but it's a very small portion of all the total volume. Only 1%, 99% of the transactions are totally legible, are not related with criminal activities or with fraudulent activities. So, the risk is there, and it's a reality. But we have to manage this risk. I mean, crypto is something new, so we have to look at very carefully. But when we ask different issuers or banks, we realize that the majority of them are not aware what is happening. When you talk with any bank or financial institution about crypto, they say, no, I am not related with crypto. I am not offering any crypto solution for my customer, so I don't care. And the reality is, no, you are in the middle of the crypto transactions. Because if you want to pay anything in any exchange with your card or with your account, you need a bank. And if you want to receive the money when you sell the crypto, you need a bank. So last year, $16 trillion was part of the movements that passed through the financial institutions. And when we ask them, are you aware? Almost 80% of them say, no, I doesn't aware what is happening, and I don't know all the transactions that are crypto-related. In the top 10 US banks, this represents around $2 billion last year. This is a huge amount of money. Probably the majority of them are legal transaction, normal transaction, but what's happened if some of them are related with money laundering? So you are in a trouble. So if you analyze what is the risk, 55% of all the VASP, virtual asset service provider, I mean exchange, ATMs, etc., has a very weak know your customer process. So that's the big problem. So if someone in your financial institution are buying or receiving money from this type of VASP, you are in a risk. So you have to clearly manage it. So talking about cybersecurity in crypto is not very different if you talk about cybersecurity in general. I mean, if you are, I don't care what is your business, you need to have a cybersecurity process very secure. And I have represented different layers that in the case of the crypto space, there are some specific differences. But the first layer is the most obvious one. I mean, you have to protect your perimeter, you have to protect your environment, but maybe more important is just to know what is the risk that maybe you have with your partners or with your providers. Because at the end, maybe you are very secure, your perimeter is very safe, but what's happened if one of your provider or partner, if you have a lot of transactions with them, a lot of files, they have suffer a hacker attack or a ransomware attack. Maybe you can be affected. For that reason, Mastercard acquired some years ago RiskRecon. RiskRecon is a company that can help you First of all, to analyze what is your real risk in terms of cybersecurity in general, generally speaking. But more important is that they can analyze what is the risk that you are with your partners and with your provider. Okay? So that's, for me, is the first layer that you have to take into account. The second one is related with the authentication and identification of your customers. For me, maybe this is the most important one. I mean, if you are reading the newspaper, we are suffering a lot of phishing attacks every day. Probably all of you has received an email, an SMS with trying to obtain your credentials, and this is a reality. So you have to protect this very carefully. In the next slide, I will give you some insights on how can we incorporate more security identification and in authentication. And finally, and these two layers are very specific for the crypto space, you have to understand what is your real exposure in the crypto space. So you have to know how many transactions are related with crypto in the environment, what is the risk associated to those transactions, and of course, if you are exchange, you have to have some tools in order to trace all these movements and to analyze the money laundering exposure that you have. So let's start very quickly because we don't have enough time. I mean, cybersecurity is a huge topic. In crypto, it's very complex, but some insights just to give you. So related with authentication and identification, this is not only for crypto transaction, this is in general. I mean, in every merchant, every bank are suffering phishing attacks. Of course, the exchanges are suffering phishing attacks. So the normal all static password or even the SMS OTP that you are receiving right now is not enough. This week, I think, this Monday, I was reading an article of a man in Brazil that has lost around 30,000 euros because this man suffered a hacker attack, and a phishing attack, and a SIM swapping attack. So the hackers could connect to Binance and steal all the funds that this man has on Binance. It was very secure. I mean, it was a password, it was with an SMS OTP, but the hackers made a SIM swapping attack. So how can you defend with this type of situation? For Mastercard, we cannot provide a new extra layer of security that cannot be hacked. And this security is related with your behavior, the way you interact with your mobile phone, the way you interact with your exchange, with your bank. So maybe the hackers knows your email, your password, maybe they have done a SIM swapping, so they receive your SMS OTPs, but they never can behave as you. I mean, if I hold my mobile phone with my left hand or with my right hand, if I type very fast or not, the way I move inside the app, or when I am clicking, the velocity, etc. I mean, more than 100 different aspects that identify you in a unique way. And this is not possible to hack. No one can behave as you. So for me, this extra layer of security is critical, even more in the crypto space. And this man was not suffered this attack if Binance was including this type of behavioral analytics solution. Okay? So for me, this is one of the most important ones. And just related to the crypto space, and if you remember, I mean, there is a lot of possibilities of risk related with money laundering. If you cannot manage it, there is a lot of lack of visibility what is happening. So for that reason, Mastercard acquired last year CipherTrace. CipherTrace is the leader in the blockchain analytics solutions that is absolutely critical to have. I mean, in the US, for example, last week or 2 weeks after, or 2 weeks before, the regulators said, okay, if you want to be an exchange, you have to have some type of blockchain analytics solution. But even if you are not an exchange, you need to know what is happening. You need to know where are your customers transacting. And that's the reason why we can give all the institutions that they think, no, I don't have any exposure to crypto. We can offer to them all the information related, where are your customers buying crypto, where are they receiving money from the crypto space, and more important, what is the risk associated to those transactions. And if you ask me, how can you do that? At the end, it's very simple in the concept, because blockchain is a public register, it's public. anyone can analyze what is happening. But of course, you need a very powerful software to analyze what is happening. You need a group of experts analyzing every day what is happening. And just for your understanding, this solution is analyzing more than 30 terabytes of information. And we add more than, well, almost 2 million of new attribution of all these transactions. You see here that you paint, let me say in that way, we paint the Bitcoins or we paint the cryptos flagging as criminal or flagging as ransomware or illicit, darknet, etc. So you can trace, really you can trace all this movement. And at the end, in some moment, this money has to be in fiat, has to be in euros, in dollars, and goes to a bank. So the bank has to be aware what is happening. They need to know what is the real exposure that they have. And that's the value that Mastercard can provide to you. And just finally, as a summary, I mean, crypto, I mean, is a reality. I mean, I am not saying that it's a huge amount of money on there that you probably know. There is risk in crypto, but only if you cannot manage it properly and in an end-to-end vision. So, and that's the reason why Mastercard, if you are thinking about, okay, I would like to enter into the crypto space, or even, okay, I would like to know what is happening, Mastercard can help you to solve and to manage the risk that is out there. Okay, thank you very much. That's all. We have some minutes. If you need or you have any questions, more than happy to answer. No questions? Yeah? Any questions? No? Okay, so let's continue with the next presentation. My colleagues will cover the P2P environment and ecosystem and all the things that we can do in the P2P space. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.